Good morning, everybody. My name is Tabatha Smith. I am the founder of Quilted, the Virtual Summit. I'm here this morning having a nice little coffee chat with some friends, and we're just going to brainstorm a little, talk a little about what each of these speakers are presenting at the Quilted Summit, and I hope you enjoy it. So let me introduce my guests. I have Ronnie Chavez from Road Home Quilting. Hi, Ronnie. Thank you for joining us. And I have Rachel Joins. Rachel, does your company have a name? I just know you as Rachel.
Very, very unique. Rachel's Quilt Company.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, these lovely ladies are two of our very wonderful speakers that you're going to see at the Quilted Summit. Um, Rachel is going to talk about the quilt a little bit behind her, the plaid quilt. That's what she's speaking on. She's also a certified Stripology ruler teacher. And Ronnie is an author, and I have her book right.
Yay.
There we go. I have her book right there. Sorry, my camera wants to blur everything that's not a face.
That's okay.
Um, so I have her book right here, and she's going to talk about that a little. Um, we're very fortunate that Ronnie has graciously donated some of these books to our retreat center, and we are going to be gifting them to Rachel's group when she comes on retreat, which just happens to be during the summit. And how cool that that all worked out.
It is so cool.
That's
So I
so
thought
cool.
that was amazing that it just happened to work out that way. So, um, Ronnie, tell us just a little bit about your books and what you're going to teach at the summit.
Oh, okay. So, well, first with the book, it's a cozy mystery and it's a little bit haunted. It's about Dana who inherited a haunted quilt shop.
Oh,
Should she
very
keep it?
cool.
And there's also a family mystery, missing heirloom quilts that she, well, I
Yeah.
won't tell you. Yeah.
Don't tell us everything. We got to read the book.
I since I was writing the book, I always wanted to make a pillow drop. It's a hotel marketing term for leave books on people's pillows in the right. And I was like, wow, that would be so cool for if a retreat could get these books. And then I met you at the summit, and you have the amazing camellia palms, and I, hey, can we do this? But thank you. It's a little dream come true for me. Thank you for sharing
You're
with the retreat.
you're welcome. I think you were a little surprised because you were like, "Can you do this?" And by the end of the day, I'm like, "We're doing this."
Yeah, you guys move fast. I love it. I love being in the summit and seeing everything rolling along.
And tell our guests a little bit about what you're going to be teaching during the summit or speaking
So
about.
yeah, so I'm doing upcycled quilts. I'm turning old quilts into new things, and uh pretty everybody wants to do a jacket, right? We used to do vests and now it's jackets, right? But how do you know if your old quilt, are you going to have enough for that pattern? How do you make the all the fluffy seams work? So in my workshop, I really focused on the techniques, all the things you need to consider first before you start cutting up, so you don't go, oh crap, it's not gonna work.
Oh,
And I
now what do I do with this, right?
Right. And I got really interested in using every part of the quilt, the bindings and everything. How can you salvage the most? So I also include a lot of smaller projects, even some no-sew projects where you can
Fantastic.
use up every little bit as you go through. And so at the end of the workshop, you get two freebies. You get a checklist of all the techniques, kind of sorted out what you need to think through, and then a big list of 60 projects you can do with the old quilt.
Wow, that is
Yeah, I
awesome. That's awesome.
Generous.
Okay,
and
Rachel,
that
so
and
tell us a little bit about your workshop and how how you came to being a speaker and that type of thing for us.
So, kind of full circle, my mother was a guest at or did the Quilted Summit, and that's how she didn't teach, she was an attendee last year, and she is also the main host for the retreat that will actually be happening at Camilla Pines I hope that's right, Camilla Pines.
Camellia Palms.
Palms, thank you. I'm
It's
thinking
okay.
plane trees, so thank you. So she's the main host, and she said, Rachel, you really got to connect with Tabitha. And so we connected, and I struggled at first with the idea of how to upcycle something because it's not something I really do. I am a fabric collector user. I love new fabric, but I was quilting the quilt you see in the foreground with the turquoise in it. And when the concept came out, I said, I could really make this pattern a little fresher, a little more modern. And I had this collection of shirts that you can see used in my quilt back here. It's plaids, pockets, and patchwork. And the plaids are mostly from my kids' shirts. And then I salvaged a couple pockets and the monogram or a pocket that was on the shirt. And so that's how I came up with the name. And I modernized it using just half square triangles. And then I also used a kind of a stripology technique to make the stem really modern and fresh. On my old one, you can see it has really very unique options. Some of the stems are just slapped up there. They're barely sewn on. Some are wide and short. So I just modernized the family heirloom that I was working on. So that foreground was one that I believe my great aunt had quilted, and it was never finished. She pieced it, and I had been holding on to it to quilt one day. And finally, I was quilting it when I was asked to find inspiration. It all kind of came full circle. So, anyway, I am thrilled to be part of this. I am a certified stripology instructor, and that's my main thing. I really love to use stripology to streamline quilting. Everyone hates the cutting process, and that's actually my favorite part. I have more cut quilts than um, finished tops, but I love to teach it because it's accurate, it's efficient, and I've noticed too as I'm aging, it's a lot easier, to see things. So that's kind of how I got inspired for this project, and I'm super thrilled. I am giving away the free pattern with it, so everyone can do it. And also, if you sign up for the paid version of it, you get I think a 20 or 30% off long arming from me. I'm also a long arm quilter, so.
Fantastic.
Ooh,
So,
yeah,
Ronnie, I know you had a
yeah,
question for
yeah.
Rachel about the
Ra-
pattern.
Rachel, I have that bag of plaid shirts that need to be in a quilt, but they scare me because don't you have to line up all the plaids and does everything have to be even in a plaid quilt? The nap?
Well, the plaids that I have, first, I will say these are more dress shirts. They're not flannel plaids, so they're
Oh,
printed cotton. However, they're all greatly worn, and I'm not one
yeah,
that's real matchy-matchy. I like the organicness of how things lay. I'm not one that will move stuff around and match patterns and do that sort of thing. I like a clean look, like crisp and a well-made pattern, but when it comes to
yeah.
matching plaids, no. And I think if you look at the red one that is
Mm,
up here, the plaids don't line up. And actually, that just gives the
you
leave
can
a
see
little bit
more.
more movement. If you're the other thing that you're worried about nap and that sort of thing, these are
Mm,
well worn, they're well washed. So a lot of the give and the worry that you would have with like a brand new flannel, it's long gone. And
mm.
by practicing one or two blocks, you could easily figure it out.
I would
Yeah.
think it
All
would
right.
be really hard to line the plaids and stripes up in half square triangles anyhow, because you
Mhm.
just
Right.
never know how that triangle's going to come out, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I
So
will
you're
tell
saying
you,
just don't worry about it.
I had a small quilt that I was working on earlier this year, and it's for my quilt show challenge next year, and it's only 18 inches square. It's not that big, but it has a strip that runs through it, and I had to piece, and it's a gold plaid, and I had to piece it together to make the scrap that I was using long enough. I kid you not, I spent 4 hours, 4 hours trying to match a 2.5 inch wide seam so that
Yep. Yep.
it would look right on the quilt. Only because it was for a challenge for a quilt
Uh,
show. That is the
Yep.
only reason. Otherwise, I'd have just put those two pieces together and not worried about it.
Other advice I say is purposely don't match them. And then it doesn't work. It doesn't look like you failed. It looks like it was intentional.
Right.
When you don't stress about it, or if you're worried that they're both going to line up, vertically, then turn one horizontal and then it's intentional and it just gives the
Oh,
quilt movement.
That's how
oh,
I feel about long arm, or how I feel
that's a
about
good
free
idea.
motion quilting is I can't quilt a straight line to save my life, not even in the ditch. But if you make it wiggly on purpose, then it's okay if it's wiggly. People don't expect it to be straight, and it's a lot more
Mhm.
forgiving that way.
That's a good plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Planning unperfect. I got to think about that. I gotta-
Perfectly imperfect.
I love it.
So
That's
I'll answer the few questions that Ronnie had for me. She asked me, how did we come up with a name for camellia palms? And we brainstormed a lot of names, but in reality, and we actually thought about something to do with pecan, but pecan plantation, it just really didn't, it wasn't big enough to be a plantation. So there's that. But we ended up calling it camellia palms because there are camellias and palm trees on the property. There are also,
and
but that's
and
how it
pecans
ended up
too.
being called camellia palms.
Wow.
There's some beautiful camellias and there's like 14 palm trees on the property.
Nice.
Oh.
I cannot wait to come.
Mm.
And then she asked me what my favorite retreat story was or something to that effect. There's a couple. One, my favorite retreat to ever do, we held an escape room retreat. So I taught a mystery quilt, and so you didn't know what you were making till it was done, right? Like you would get instructions for a section, and this was over
Mhm.
4 days. And then in order to get the next set of instructions, you had to solve a puzzle because the whole theme was you got to the house
Wow.
locked you in, you couldn't leave kind of thing, right? Until you solved the mystery of the retreat. And so they had to solve mysteries like how to unlock a combo lock, where to find the combination, eventually unlocking a closet to find the original quilt uh,
Oh.
that was
Oh.
hiding in the closet and restore it to its rightful place so that they could escape the house. And so
That
that was probably
what
my
a
favorite quilt retreat to do.
Well,
are you
that's
gonna do that one again? Oh my
Probably
God.
it was a bit of work, planning it all out because I mean I had balloons with the little strips of the combo lock shoved in the helium
Oh
balloon.
my
It had to pop their balloon and it was in their favorite color and to because you had to
wow.
unlock the lock to get the paper scissors to cut something up with. It was a
Oh
whole
my
thing.
goodness.
they work in a group or did you have to do it individually?
They worked as a group.
Okay.
Even
So it
harder.
was a lot of fun. And then the weirdest thing I think we've ever happened is we came in one day and but to this day, we don't know how it happened. But one of the light switches that switches on the front porch light had been changed. It was no longer just a flip up and down switch. It's a dimmer, like it's a tan instead of white or cream, and then it's a dimmer for the front porch. And I'm like, who changed the light switch? And to this day, we don't know which group decided to change the light switch.
Oh, yeah, it had to be one of the quilters, huh?
Or their
Wow.
husbands or that came over
Yeah.
something. We have no idea how
Oh,
that.
wow.
You would think someone would communicate or even ask permission, but I mean, if they're going to change it, at least they did it maybe in your favor.
Maybe an upgrade.
It's not white anymore. It doesn't match because there's two switches side by side. One's white, one's not. One's for the interior light, one's for the exterior light. And yeah, to this day, we don't know how that happened.
That's a proper mystery.
That
I
is.
Yes.
love that.
That could go in
Uh,
one of your books.
Yes. Can I borrow that,
yes,
Tabitha?
feel free to use that.
I love the
Um,
idea of the escape room. Maybe I could do that to my mom. No, I was just
yeah.
teasing.
Um,
Ronnie, I have a question for you,
Oh, super.
if you don't mind. So I cannot understand cutting up a quilt. I mean,
Oh,
how do you justify or how do you like what's your decision making? And maybe you'll teach us in the class or in your lecture, but how do you decide a quilt that is okay to cut up? Because to me, I'm like, I still want to salvage the quilt and use it,
yeah.
but how do you say, okay, this one is worth cutting up?
Yeah. So I had a hard time with that too. And so the first one I cut up, it was from an antique shop, and it had a new binding on it. It's you see it a lot in the workshop. It's the Northern Star pastel print, and it had a brand new binding, and it was a very odd size. And so I was like, this has already been cut up. This has already been cut down. Somebody already cut it down and rebound it to sell it. So I'm like, that means it's okay if I cut it out too. So I think if something is really damaged,
Mhm.
that it's not usable the way it is, you can make it into something else.
Because
But
you find those
you
a
know
lot.
what? The workshop after mine is Carrie at the Texas Quilt Museum. I think we're kind of paired together in the lineup. I'm upcycle and she's telling people how you preserve your quilt, how what you need to know to save something. And there is ways you can date the fabric. There's books that will show you the old fabric so you can date your quilt and find out how really old is it. Is it super antique? Maybe I shouldn't be cutting it up. Maybe I should be preserving it and like that. And it's a personal decision. It's your family heritage, your quilt or something salvaged antique place. And so that's where you have to decide. In my workshop, I also use just how many Halloween table runners do you have? You know, and
Zero.
you might just be tired of some of those old holiday things. Well, you can turn them into something more fun.
Yeah, like a tote bag
Have
or
them in the
something.
closet,
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm excited for that. I'm going to see Carrie's workshop too, right after mine.
Yeah.
Are
So
there a lot of pairing classes like that? Do you guys match up things in the schedule?
well, what we did was when we have an open call, we have to limit our speakers to about 25 or 26 people because that's all we can fit in the 2 day time frame without making it an even 3 days or something, which who knows, maybe in the future. But right now it's 2 days, and so we can only accept that many speakers. And so we had about 40-ish applications. Uh,
Wow.
and so I go through them and I read their subjects and I go on all their social media. Not that they have to have a big social media presence, but if they do, that's great. But if I just go look at their social media anyhow, because some people's topics are I think interesting enough to my viewers, in my opinion, that I'm like, okay, I know you don't have 50,000 followers on Instagram, but it's okay because I think your topic will appeal to my group. And so I go through that and pick out the ones I want. And I also try not to double up too much, right? Like, so Susan Smith is teaching long arming. And while I have a few other quilters, they're speakers, they're long armers, I didn't ask them to teach long arming, right? Because I'm trying to keep the subject matter as diverse as possible. And then we just sort of fit them in the lineup as we feel like they would fit
Yeah.
best. And we've got a last minute addition. The Quilt of Valor Foundation is going to be joining us live at
Oh,
lunchtime on Tuesday, the 16th.
oh,
So we're very excited about that. And to have their outreach, we're very, I live in a very military area, right? High military presence in Northwest
sure.
Florida. So we're very excited to have the Quilt of Honor Foundation joining us as well.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
and so, yeah, we just sort of, put them where it made sense to us.
Nice.
I love it.
I
You're a
love that.
curator, Tabitha. Yeah.
What's that?
You're a curator. Great. The works, that's very cool. That's a lot of work. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
It's a
so
work, but I
excited.
enjoy it, and I can work from home, and thank God because my leg is broken. So um I can, it's nice that I can do this from my computer and from home. And um I love I love putting things together, like putting people together and groups together. And so that's kind of what I enjoy doing.
And
These
the sewing at the end of the day. What do you call that? Sit
It's our live
sit
sit and sews.
sit
You
and
do
sew.
have to be an all access pass member to join those. That is a perk of buying a ticket.
Oh, good.
So and we'll just it's informal. I've got a couple of the other speakers, one joining me Tuesday, one joining me Wednesday as co-hosts. And I don't know that much of my sewing gets done, but we chit chat and people can join us in the chat bubble and we'll answer their questions and
Oh,
and that kind of
fun.
thing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a great way to review the day, everybody together,
Exactly. You
sharing
know,
what you
sometimes the
learned.
speakers will pop in there and join us as well. Um, but yeah, we're really excited. We're looking forward to it.
Me too.
It's not just me. My two daughters are also involved. They
Yes, you're a family business.
we are
That that's the dream thing. Mothers, daughters, and let's see, retreat and summit and quilting queens,
correct.
quilt
That's
group,
my
and
online community, Quilt Queens, and I also have a small Etsy shop that just sells some quilt stickers and quilt games and stuff.
you do. Is that your shirt from your shop? Is that?
This was one of our retreat. I did a themed retreat in June, and so this was a group of our people, our ladies. They come back every year, and so we took the picture, and then my daughter turned it in. She's an artist, so she turned it into the logo for the t-shirts, and we have stickers that say Quilt Gang.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Thank
Oh, you have
you.
your own artist. I love it.
Yeah, I got my own artist. I got my own business genius behind the scenes. She does all our strategy and social media and stuff, and I'm the person
I
who
want
talks to
one.
everybody. I know everybody needs an artist and a business person
Right?
in their business,
Oh,
right? I just
so
I mine are homegrown.
what's
That's
your secret sauce? How'd you get everybody involved in the family business?
I don't know. I homeschooled them. Maybe that had something to do with it. We all have our strengths and we all stay in our own lane. That's the secret.
Oh,
So
that's
Ah,
good.
stay in
My
we
your
don't
lane.
we don't step on each other's toes. We all know what we're good at, our zone
what
of
your
genius, and
gift
we
is.
we do
That's
that.
interesting. I homeschooled my two children. We'll have to talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
my
fun.
my mom, like I said, her name is Sally. She's the main host for the retreat during the Quilted Summit, and my twin sister is also a quilter, and so we'll. It is fun when the three of us get together. Staying in our own lane is
Important.
my mom is the artistic one. I'm the quality checker, and my sister is the one that makes sure we're all fed, and that she's just like she loves to iron, and she gets us all ironed, and so we kind of have an assembly line.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a special project we'll be working on, so I'll be sure to tag you in my social media.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, so I think that's part of the strength is knowing your gifts and
And
staying in your own lane.
well, you have to trust everybody
Yeah.
that you can hand off. Okay, it's your turn to take over
Yeah.
this,
You
and you know
can't
it's gonna get done.
micromanage. You just have to hand
Mm.
out things
can
to the
I
person who's best at it.
do you have local teachers that will or special events at your retreat center?
Not exactly. We run it a little bit different. So for years, like mo traditionally, if you're a teacher and you want to teach at a retreat center, whatever, you offer your services, the retreat center hires you to come in, they pay your fee or your lodging or whatever, and you teach. And that's not how we do it. How we do it is we rent you the space, and then we have a flat fee for our space, and then you're welcome to bring in your own students and charge them whatever you want.
Nice.
And then it's on,
Yes.
it's up to you to get your students up to you to, charge them enough to make it worth your time. And we're just renting you the space.
Yes.
So that's how we
Get
do
out
it.
of the micromanage again. There you go.
Exactly. You get a code to the door. And I mean, I was hoping to come down and see you during your retreat, but the leg is probably not going to allow that.
That's
Um, because, well, I could get around if I lived on the lower level, but I do not. And so I have to navigate a set of stairs to get out of my house. And
mm,
I've done
Yeah.
that once in the last 4 weeks, and getting down wasn't too bad, but getting up was brutal.
so
So I'm not doing that again for another month.
Yeah.
well,
Heal fast.
Ronnie, you and I should get together sometime and go thrifting for quilts. I mean, we're not too far
Oh,
from each other, right?
yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And
What
you know
about
what I've
next year?
noticed is the the different antique stores have are very specialized in our area. Like
Right.
Oracle is very different from Apache Junction. You can only get Velvet Elvis in Apache Junction antique stores. You can't get them on the Main Street one.
Not on my list of things I would look, but I'm glad.
Really? Okay.
Velvet Elvis, no.
So, yeah. So, yeah, but quilts, they show up everywhere, kind of,
Mhm.
and
I have
in
a
different
couple of
states.
quilt tops that I bought a decade ago, and I'll eventually get around to quilting them. And I bought them at a yard sale in Texas. And they were his grandmother's, and they're just the tops. One of them's from the 30s, and one's from probably the 60s. And they're
Mm.
both beautiful. I mean, in really
Oh,
great shape, like no stains or tears. So I need to get them quilted. But I was just amazed. And he wanted $10 for both of them.
I would love
what?
I would
Mm.
love to get my hands. This is the only one I have that was passed on to me as family that I was able to quilt. I would love to get my hands on older quilts and quilt them up, and that would be so fun.
And I think it's a
Yeah.
little harder to find the older quilts at the moment because the quilted coat is so popular,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Because it
It
is so
is.
popular, it's gotten harder and harder to find good ones in your local antique stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm not sure.
Wait,
Well, ladies, it's been lovely talking to you. I
wait. You haven't
oh,
told us about your workshop, Tabitha, because I love Wonky Log Cabin. I want to
okay.
try.
Yes, wonky like Evans. You do not need a special ruler. You can,
No,
if you
because I
have one,
hunted
that's
that ruler.
fine.
I hunted long and hard to get that wonky ruler.
Um, Really, all you need is a square ruler to square them up at the end, right? So I use a 6.5 inch ruler because I usually don't make mine any bigger than that for my blocks.
Oh,
But you
okay.
can use a 12.5 inch ruler if you want to make a really big ones.
Big one.
I find that I like making them no bigger than 6.5 because when I put them together, it's you got more variation, right? The bigger the block, the less variation you end up with.
Yes, yes, I've
So
learned
I
that.
like having the variation. So I like making some of them I make 4.5. It just depends on the fabrics and what I'm doing. But no, you don't need a special ruler or anything. Just scraps,
Cool.
just scraps.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna learn that.
That'll be
Finally,
so
I'm
fun.
gonna do a wonky like Kevin.
Yeah. So hopefully everybody will enjoy that. And I'm looking forward. We've got so many great speakers for the summit. I cannot wait to see
Yeah,
how it goes.
I'm
And
so
It's
excited.
gonna
we'll
be
be doing it again. So as soon as this summit's over, we'll be doing a call for speakers for the next one.
I'm already thinking for next year.
There you go. There you go.
yeah, and it rolls on. Oh,
So,
I wanna ask if there's any quilt shops out there. Um, I'd like to see the crazy quilter in quilt shops. So I have a wholesale site. Tell your favorite quilt shop to look for.
oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
If you shoot us an email
Mm.
at info@quiltedsummit.com and ask for it, we have a list of 200 and something quilt shops that is from Texas to Florida
Hey,
that we put
neat,
together.
neat.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. Okay. So
Because
I
I
think
have a
those would be
Facebook group,
fun.
a totally different Facebook group called the Gulf Coast Quilting, and I've been running that Facebook group for about 5 years. And so we made a quilt shop list from the Gulf for the Gulf Coast.
Wow, okay. So people
I've
can.
got to tell my mom that her grandson just moved to Killeen, Texas, I think, and she'll be making a couple trips from, well, she's in South Middle Georgia, but she'll be doing that I-10 corridor plenty of times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, fun. That
Yeah, it's
and a Facebook group too. That you think of that's very cool. You have so many jobs. I don't know how you manage all those. That's
yeah,
really
they
cool.
say if you need something done, you give it to a busy person.
Okay, a busy
They get it
quilter.
done.
There we go.
But yeah, so there's lots of cool shops. Yeah. I spent most of my life in Texas, so I know exactly where Fort Hood. I don't know if they call it Fort Hood anymore, but I
Oh,
know
you're
I
right. They keep
think they may have
changing it.
renamed it, but I know where it's at.
Yep, that's where he is.
Yeah. Well, it's a fall story, and I hope your retreat people really enjoy reading the fall story
Yeah.
and their fall
Yeah, so
quilting.
these will be at the
Really
retreat
fun.
center.
Thank you. That's so generous, Ronnie. I'm really excited about it.
Me too. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so check out the shops. When I am at mobile again and out at my local shops, I'll be sure to start telling them about it.
Oh,
Um,
thanks, Tabitha. Thank you.
I'm sure they'd be interested. Um, and yeah, I'm excited. I think it's great. I'm
Right.
so tickled for the summit. I cannot wait. Um, We had such a good response last year, and I'm really, or well, February, it wasn't last year, but last time, and I'm really expecting such a great response, and all of our teachers, and I'm thrilled that you guys joined us. You know, it's nice to get some new faces, and you know,
Thanks for the opportunity.
I know our attendees like meeting new teachers and new people, and I hope to see you again next time.
Yeah,
And
it's nice to chat with you today.
yes,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate y'all joining me early this morning, and I'm gonna sign off and let you guys go and have a rest of your great week.
All right. Thanks. Bye,
Talk to you
Rachel. Bye, Tabitha.
Bye.
later.